Good evening. Welcome to the Trails Committee meeting on July 19th, 2022. I'm calling the meeting to order at 7:36. I'll do a roll call vote. Let me know that you're here when I call your name. Tom McCoolier.
Present.
Did I hear you, Tom? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little. Satyendra Sharma.
Yes.
Great, and Kat McKee. So thank you all. So I think just to kick off, Isabella Bogdansky is still interested in serving on the committee. I just didn't quite make the swearing in process. So we're going to get her re-enrolled, and I'll ask select board to vote her in at the next meeting.
Isn't it tonight, the next meeting?
I don't think it is, because I think they had a meeting last Tuesday. I think they were only going to have one in July, maybe for vacational holiday. And Sam wouldn't be here if there was one. And he's
Yeah, there's one on the 22nd, it says, so this week. And her name is there on reappoint board members. July 22nd.
That's this Friday.
What's the that's what it says.
It does. Okay. Well, then I need to get in sooner than later to let them know.
There's
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that did not go to the town clerk's office to get sworn in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But we'll work that out. So first order of business is the minutes. Thank you, Sati, for pulling those together. I'm going to screen share because I want to go through them a little bit. Can you guys see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see where I was. So I was in, I want to start, you guys take a look. You may have already looked at them. I know Sati drafted them. So I just want to look at the annual town meeting recap. I was working on that for just a minute. Standing, 2 amendments were proposed, 1 amendment was to declare, 1 to pass, 2nd amendment was proposed from research, amendment was voted forward by 17 votes, resulting in elimination of 2 active volunteers. Discussion on whether we attempt to fall in the top fall name to add associate members to the committee. I'm just taking a suggestion of the next bullet and merging it into this one.
Yeah, next bullet is already this deals with this thing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yes. Discuss again after another set of discussions. All right, we can discuss this again after another set of, I'm just going to use a different word, conversations, just because we used discuss earlier. We can reach out to townspeople directly to get their support. Okay, that sounds good. Choke Fund 2021 project update and closeout. Stewardship has access to the signage. Language approved. Okay, I'm going to say it was approved by stewardship.
Okay.
And Jenny Pete put a lot of work into the draft. Great. Mm-hmm. Scannell, his name is this.
Scannell, it's good. Scannell. Okay, John's Kennel.
I think, yeah.
What do you mean by the, I'm not sure. The riser fence installation was brought up. Well, we were not.
You did.
I know, but I'm losing words. MWA is on one side as they only have a sliver of the dam. We're not on the dam side with the riser.
I think it was part of the whole conversation, but I think. Let's do this.
Okay, and that's
That'd be just another point. Fencing should be a point by itself. I guess,
Okay,
what are
so
we
I
trying to
think-
say there? I didn't really
Yeah,
understand.
I think what the objective here is, John Scannell of the Watershed Division is pushing for the commissioner's signature to be done as soon as possible for the public access plan.
Okay,
okay. That makes
Does that make
sense.
sense?
yeah,
Okay, so I think this was a question, we weren't really sure. Can
can we install the fence without that?
the area be open for public access?
This you want to ask the MWRA or
Yeah, so I did ask the question. I do have some fun news, but I can't tell you because we're not on that subject right now. I'm just joking.
Mhm.
So can the area be open for public access before the construction process? DCR need to enter into memorandum to move forward with the fencing. This needs to be determined.
Mhm.
Fencing vendor needs to be
Okay,
contacted.
that's good.
Mass Trail will let us know by July 2020 regarding the status of our grant application. So this was dated June 8th.
Right, this is the June 8th
So we
meeting,
didn't
so
know
it's-
yet.
no.
ARPA committee select board was voted to approve 2 projects of the 4 we had put forward, 1 project for 12.5 that includes storage shed signage. This was immediate. This was for the immediate release of funds. DPW needs to be contacted for location shed. It's
Yeah,
Second.
you have to remember, this is back in the beginning of June.
what is that, Tom?
You just have to remember, this is back in the beginning of June.
Yeah, I am trying to remember that. Second project was about crosswalk development for easy, safe access to trails, just augmentation of trails grants. The board cannot vote on it. So, okay. In the meantime, committee will need to approach capital planning, and as the project is more than 1,000 to go to capital planning. I think that works there. They have a meeting in June. Our application might get taken out at that time. Motion to authorize Catherine. Who's Catherine McGee?
no, sorry,
System of the application and capital talk with them. regarding-
typos.
So
I
Tom-
sent you like 5 versions.
Roll call, yes, yes, yes. And I'm another McGee. Motion approved. Tom helped drop the application. Catherine reached out to Karen about crosswalks being granted. She put Catherine in touch with VHB and engineer from the Electric Town. Stripes. Yeah. Isn't it how interesting how things changed since that original conversation?
No, I know, when I read that, I was like, I had to put it in perspective of June 8th.
Yeah, right. Okay.
This is June 8th. Yeah, this is not last times. I am still in
Okay,
process of.
okay. Oh, I see. So this,
This is not. This is June 8th. This is not last.
okay,
last-
so this, yeah, so this is ARPA money discussion here. I'll go like this. We can do our own collection of old recycled trails to use trails work. Yep. Vote, allow Catherine to spend 100 on ARPA funds to acquire the tools for trail. Tom made the motion is vote. Okay. And again, let me just do a quick search.
Yeah, I just put here. I'll fix it here also in my. Yeah, in mine is correct here. The other version. Okay.
Oh boy, there's lots of keys. Oh. Okay. All right, where were we? Here, ARPA. Yeah, yeah. Discussion on how the trails like more. Okay. How to maintain the trails like mowing and cleaning will be taken up next time. It's not suitable for trails committee to do.
Yeah, go up a few lines and spell my name right. You forgot a U.
Where is it?
Oh, sorry.
It's the red mark.
Yep.
Is that it?
Nope.
No,
Down.
second one. There is
Okay,
two. There are two.
Go down.
Roll call. This is the.
Yeah, there you go.
Nine hikes.
I know. That's so ambitious.
9 hikes. They're not
Numerous.
yeah, we can say numerous, but that's what the discussion was. That was about 9 hikes, up to
Okay.
9 hikes. No, put an S.
This
on
is
the,
gonna be your vacation hot months might be difficult to arrange.
put an S on the
9 hikes, plural.
hikes. Okay, thank you. You already scoped it out, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
these are correct, but they're kind of stuck up and in this random thing. So let me just double check on the 6-8 agenda.
No, this was not in the agenda, I think. This
Oh,
one.
it might have come up under accessibility because.
Right, yeah, right.
All
When
right,
we
I'll
were
leave it.
discussing.
That's fine. It's good. So, okay. I'm gonna put Priscilla,
Priscilla
Yeah.
Ryder, I mean,
she's the
conservation
Yeah.
agent, or
Yeah, they
No.
have a new name for her.
sustainability agent.
She's
Oh,
not part of the Trails Committee, the Marlboro Trails.
She is the conservation person. She is, I have to get it. Sorry. Because I think it's like sustainability coordinator.
okay.
Conservation sustainability officer. Okay.
He copied it. So those same fonts will be officer.
And it's in Marlboro.
Yeah.
Yep, Marlboro.
Okay. Okay.
Did you take the site walk though?
No, we didn't do the site walk. It was discussed on the 8th.
Awesome. Thank you. So I think these are in good shape. Thank you, Sati. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from June 8th?
So moved.
Great. And a second?
I seconded.
Great. And let's do roll call vote. Tom McCoolier,
Yes.
Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
and Kat McKee. Yes. Great. Thank you all. Okay. And so we'll get those submitted. And then we do not have 6/28's minutes, but we're
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
in compliance, so that's okay. We'll get those next. Okay, so let's see where we are. Volunteer application review. So we have so Isabel Murphy prepared to step down, so she is no longer on the committee. And we thank her for her many years of 5 years of service. So now we have had an application put forward from Will Warren. He opted not to attend tonight's meeting. He's technically no longer an associate member because his term was not reappointed by the select board. And so he has put in an application to become a full-time member. So let's open that up for discussion. Does anyone have any thoughts?
Nope. Should we just, for all due process, it's been announced that the trails had an opening back in June. But do we want to just publicize again, see if there's any other takers?
We could,
Or we could just appoint, or we could just vote on Will's applicant.
yeah, I mean, so a couple things, like, so Will has been as an associate member, even before he was voted in, started to attend our meetings when he expressed interest in the Trails Committee. He was very helpful during the grant process, as you were, Tom, and others were. He has attended multiple maintenance events since December. And so, he's definitely has the availability, which I think is pretty key for us. And he has demonstrated the initiative and effort to attend events and help with the maintenance. So I think those are some positive contributions, and I would be comfortable putting forward his, going to the select board and saying, the committee, if the committee votes so, to put forward for him. But what do you guys think? If you want to put it out to, have other applicants, put in a volunteer form, then we can go through that selection process, which is.
Well, just think of the timeline. So the next Board of Selectmen is the 22nd, which is Friday. Is that too soon to get on the agenda? If not, then I don't think there's no harm to say we're accepting final applicants. And then if no one comes, we appoint him to the next Selectmen meeting.
So I just want to make sure.
You mean Will?
Excuse me?
You mean Will gets appointed? Okay.
If we don't have any applicants to the August.
Oh, they do have it on the committee. Oh, good. Oh, so I don't know. I mean, we could technically, it depends on how you guys feel, but I think a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush. And I'm, so I would support if the committee wanted to put out an application for others to attend. I would support that. But there is seemingly an opportunity to get things voted on this Friday if we wanted to.
Well, Sam is in attendance. So Sam, what Catherine is saying, if we vote to go forward with Will, can that be on your July 22nd agenda?
Sam, I'm going to promote you to talk if you're in there.
Simple answer is, I don't know. We just posted that agenda today, and the meeting's for 8 o'clock on Friday morning. So you got to have 48 hours in advance. So we would technically need to post it before 8 a.m. tomorrow. What I would suggest is if Kat maybe reached out to Kathy Cook via email, the chair, and ask if it can be included. And I don't have any idea whether she's in town, reachable or whatever, but if she agrees to that update, in theory, she might be able to get to Jim Haggerty before 8 a.m. tomorrow and get a revised
and
agenda.
Actually, Sam, I just did this today. So once an agenda is posted, you need that 48 hours, but I understood from Jim Haggerty, and I had to make an amendment today. I understood that you can make revisions up to the day of the meeting, that it doesn't require the 48 hours. Does that ring a bell in any of your?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I always try to do the 48 and then stop it there, but I know people have revised agendas. So certainly worth a try. But I would encourage you to reach out to Kathy, ask if
Yeah.
she's willing to update the agenda to that effect. And if she is okay, and she will usually check with Jim on that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
I think. So if she's willing to do that, then you could technically maybe get it on the agenda. So
Okay.
get two new
Yeah, so-
members with one vote.
Sati, what do you think?
Is he willing to? Well, is he ready to?
Yeah, he submitted an application, a volunteer application.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was not paying attention. So yeah, okay. In that case, yeah. I mean, would he be able to join the meetings?
Yeah.
That is another thing.
I think as long as we don't have him on certain Wednesdays, he's got a conflict, a standing conflict. And
But
he
we do,
serves on
we do
other
have,
committee members.
yeah, we do have the extension of remote meetings through March of 2023 now.
Yeah.
So
I
in
know.
fact, even if, Will were not able to attend physically, you could certainly connect via Zoom to the meetings if you had in-person meetings.
Yeah. Yes, that's great news. I heard just in the nick of time. I wasn't sure what we were going to do for space if the governor didn't sign it on Saturday, I guess. That's what Jim said. He signed it. the
Yeah.
bill. So Tom, do you feel strongly that you'd like to put out the application to see who we get, or what are you thinking?
I don't feel strongly either way.
Okay.
So I will go by the will of the committee.
Okay. So it sounds like we're okay putting forth the application, and do I have a vote to support? I can let Kathy Cook in the ask. I'll say that the Trails Committee voted one way or the other to support the nomination. Or the
Okay, so, but there's no other application, right? That's only his application?
He's already pulled out the volunteer application, correct? So does someone want to do a vote, a motion?
I can do it.
Okay. Tom, do you want a second?
I will second it.
Thank you. And let's do roll call vote. So Tom McCoolier,
Yes.
Satyendra Sharma,
Yes,
and Kat McKee, yes. Great. So I will reach out to Kathy Cook and Mark Purple and see if we can get them added, get Will added to the agenda. I don't believe that they'll need to do an interview. He's already been appointed, so this is just a reappointment of sorts. So thank you, Sam, for your help on that. Okay, and then once we get Isabel and Will, we'll be a full committee again. Yay. Okay, next, stay on trail sign replacement. So I heard from the resident that was having some issues with people on the wrong side of the Aqueduct, the open channel, and the signs that we put up in February have been working effectively to keep people on the right side of the channel. One of the signs has been damaged by a mower, so we do need to replace it. It's roughly $15 from eSigns. So I want to get the committee's vote to order another replacement sign, and I might order 2 signs just to have a backup just in case. They are inexpensive relatively. So that would be roughly $30.
I'll make the motion to procure 2 signs to stay on the trail.
And these are the yard signs, just
Right.
I second it.
Okay, great. And Tom McCoolier to vote.
Yes,
And
yes.
Satyendra Sharma
Yes,
and Kat McKee, yes. Great, thank you. Next, Choke Fund 2021 sign update. So I have all the signs. I need some help installing them. So I would ask, does anyone have any time this week? What day is it? Today is Tuesday, so maybe Wednesday or Thursday evening to it'll be quick install to just do some there are about 6 signs that we need to put up that are the no dog signs.
where are we going? Where do you want us to install the,
They're kind of all over the place, so we
I mean,
talked about it in the past.
location? Okay, I mean, what time you think?
Anytime after work, like after 6, it would take about an
Okay.
hour. I think.
Okay, I'll be there. Where are we?
Is Wednesday or Thursday better for you?
Either way, I mean, Wednesday is okay.
Wednesday's okay. Okay, thank you.
I won't be back until August 1st. So
Oh, are you in Rhode Island?
well, I'm going there tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Good. Thank you, Sati, and I'll coordinate with you offline about where we want to meet. Okay,
Now, is that the end of the 2021 choke grant stuff?
you will not hear me say those words again.
Thank you.
But that was such a very productive grant. I mean, I don't want to comment too much on it because we've already talked about it, but that grant paid for a lot of different things: signage in the town forest, trail name signage, interpretive sign, 2 town map boards, some directional signs, no dog signs throughout town, and a hike leader, so a nature hike leader. So that was, and it contributed to an Eagle Scout project on stewardship. So very multifaceted. So thanks for all the support there. It's an Aqueduct connector trail. So the update is the Mark Purple has signed the 8M permit, right? And that means, so I'm just waiting on MWRA to tell me that they have the fully executed copy, because they have to countersign. Once we know it's fully executed and we can get public access, we're going to go live and just, blast out to everybody that this wonderful Eagle Scout project was done by Nick McAvoy, and now it's permitted and open, and we'll get myself to write a little article on it. She's kind of been standing by. A lot of everything is on hold because we don't know if we have access or not, and we don't want to publicize too soon, because then you're really wasting an opportunity to get people excited and then they can't go out and see anything. So we've really been on the cusp there. So we're very close, but not quite there. The Peninsula Trail DCR update. So I reached out to DCR to see if we could have access to Peninsula Trail in advance of the fence going in riser shaft. And the answer is yes, we can. So that's extraordinary news, which means we can, when my Southborough writes up a little article about it, she can share that. People can go to this trail now.
Which means the gate is then unlocked.
You just walk around the gate. You just have to know you can walk around the gate.
Okay.
Yeah, but DCR did mention, now I want to just be clear, they said we were going to update that gate. Okay, so I reached out and used it as an opportunity and said, well, we'd spoken with John Scannell from DCR, and he said we could move that gate back, and maybe we could coordinate if you're going to do the work anyway.
Right.
Wouldn't it be nice if DCR would take that little project on? If they're going to plan to redo the fence anyway, just move it up a little bit. So that would be great. That takes a number off of our total expense budget if we can make that work. No promises or guarantees, but it might be helpful. And then I also spoke with Karen about meeting with with DCR, so that when if they do move that gate, that we're considering the ADA parking spots at the same time, because we don't want them to move the gate right where we're going to put the parking, and the parking needs to go because it's dictated by a tree placement. So, so Karen was open to that, and so we'll figure that out next steps. We don't have the contracting yet, but I do think as a next phase, I will be reaching out to John to ask him, make sure we're still all on the same page, and then to coordinate a time with DPW. So, but it's probably going to be in advance of any of the contracting for Mass Trails.
Okay, that sounds good.
Now this next piece is a new addition, number 8. Very excited to say Senator Eldridge's legislative aide, Michael, reached out and said, hey, the senator is in, he congratulated us on the Mass Trails grant. And if remember that Senator Eldridge and Representative Dykema, formerly Representative Dykema, both wrote a joint letter of support for the Mass Trails grant. And so Michael Carr is his name, and he said that Senator Eldridge would like to come for a visit next month. We're looking at the morning of Friday, August 12th, and he hopes that you or other committee members would be available to join him. and let him know if this is doable. So I wrote back that all of us work full time, but I'm certain we could take a couple hours off to meet him there. And so the estimated time is 8:30 a.m. on Friday, August 12th. So I'm going to be able to take off some work, just a couple of hours. It won't be long. And I wanted to find out, would any of you be able to, and I can reach out to Isabella and to Will Warren, if he's appointed by then.
I should be able to. That's enough time. Notice.
Yeah. What do you think, Sati? I know you have a new job.
Yeah, I'll try. I mean, I can try.
Okay. If not, it's okay.
8:30 is fine. 8:30 should be fine.
Yeah, and you could leave a little early if you had to make another appointment. I was very flattered that he reached out to connect with us. I thought that was a nice touch. And yeah, so I don't think he's not looking to make it a big deal, but I just want to ask the committee, is there anyone else that we'd like to invite? Keeping it very small, of course, but is there anyone else we'd like to invite to join us?
We should, out of courtesy, make sure the select board knows about that and invite them if they want to come.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah, I was wondering. So remember Karen, who is the woman running for office?
Which office, local or state?
Carolyn Dykema's
It's Kate Donahue.
Kate
Yeah,
Donahue.
she's the one that's running the primaries.
Yeah. So she was going to take a walk through Southborough at one point as part of her campaign. She has a long trails history. I was just curious if it'd be interesting to get her to join us, have her do a preliminary walk, but I don't know if that's a good.
That's a political statement there. You just picked your alliance. You're just now political advocate for that candidate.
Okay, maybe we'll keep it simple and not do that.
Which
Okay.
if she would have run that, I mean, if she actually, the voting already happened, then absolutely, but it didn't.
Okay, so that's that. Thank you. And I'll put reminders on our calendars just in case we can't make it.
Yeah, I think we should just, like I said, the select board should know about it because this is one of our state senators are in our town. So, maybe they would be interested in joining.
Okay, sounds good. And then the next topic is, so Rec had requested that, asked if we could host a hike or walk in July to help celebrate Parks and Recreation Month. So we do, this kind of fits in nicely with our Choate Fund grant because we need to do 9 hikes in a year. And so I reached out to Debbie Costine and I let other people know that folks were, that we got the grant, the other hike leaders that we had talked to. I'm trying to read Debbie's email because she had offered to do something in July. We're kind of running out of time now. You guys have, so July is really, yeah, we don't have a lot of time. So I mean, if we needed to push something, we could check in with her and see if she wanted to do so. I just feel like, yeah, I don't know that we're going to be able to make July work. Anyone have any thoughts?
No, maybe the first weekend. I mean, it says right here, Parks and Recs month. So
yeah, I mean, we did when we did the first when we did the mental health awareness month last year, it was in early June because it was kind of close to the cusp. So we might be able to do something in August and announce that we were in celebration of the Parks and Rec and let them know that we couldn't quite pull it off, but we're very interested in supporting them. So so yeah, I'll see if Debbie wants to pull something together on a short term, and we could maybe even make it so part of what Debbie was going to do is, and part of our guided hikes for the 2022 Choke Fund grant is to have binoculars and offer, the binoculars would be more loaners for kids to do bird watching and things on a nature hike. And then also journals, nature hike journals that you can record what you're seeing and things like that. That's a gift for the participants. We could do one of those, for example, in early August, and we might get, and keeping that pretty small. So like 10 to 12 people.
Well, who's going to be grabbing the attendance? Is Rec going to be actively filling this hike?
With people? No, I think we would do an Eventbrite, same thing. We'd just do the registration.
But who's going to be advertising it?
Oh,
I
we
think
would.
the rec
And
department
they could, recreation has been very supportive. So Tim usually posts our stuff on Facebook and stuff when we ask them, and the library we could just do our normal outreach channels. And
I'm just saying it'd be nice if Rec is requesting this, they should actually take an active role in promoting it.
yeah, no, they've been very good about promoting our events, I think. And it's, we have a good outreach base. So I think that might help, to your point. So let's see what we can pull together for that. I'll reach out to Debbie and see if there's something we can do. I'm a little strapped for time. I keep looking at the calendar and I don't have August up, but the first week in August I'm out. So I don't know if that's going to be a good week. So it might flow into the second week of some sort.
Well, let's see what Debbie has. Let's see what she has for availability before we put something in the sand.
And then I wondered if, it's because we're getting public access, to this trail. And I know we did a history hike last year and we had DCR lead another hike the year before or year before that, 2019, I think, and then 2021. Is there anything we want to do to celebrate the opening of that access road?
That'd be a great road to do the hike on.
What a great
It'd be a great road.
Yeah. I mean, we could, talk to people, talk up the trail and talk about what we're going to be doing. That might be an option too. And we definitely want to do that before hunting season. As we know, the hunting opens up in October. I think it's the beginning of October. So we want to make sure we get anything done there. So that might be a good option to try something on that too. So we'll float some ideas and probably won't be able to do that before our next meeting, but we could do the Debbie hike. So if something comes together, is the committee comfortable with me working with Debbie on locking that up and posting it up?
Yep, that's fine.
All right, so next up is DCR's offer to plant native plants at Trailhead. So Andy Leahy had reached out, had some plants, native plants that the initial plan had fallen through. So he wanted to put them at a trailhead somewhere on DCR property. And the trailhead that we thought made most sense for the visibility aspect, but also for the sunshade aspect was the Route 30 Framingham Road kiosk. And we did a site visit and it is a good location, but because we are in the month we are, and it's close to the end of July and it's really hot now, not a good time to plant. We also, that is town property, so we would have needed the select board's permission to do anything like that. I had reached out to Open Space to make sure the plants were qualified, and one of them was a cultivar, which is not a preferred plant, but it is a grass, so we're not quite sure what the long-term consequences of planting that is, but it's not a straight species, which is what Open Space likes to promote for good reasons, because they're using Dr. Jagir's research to make sure all the plants that we're using in town for the pollinator gardens and such are straight species and good for the pollinators. Long story short, the ground is also hard as a rock. We would never be able to dig it up because it's like cars have been driving on it for years, so it's really compact. And when they put in the kiosk, they used a small excavator to dig the holes. So we don't have those types of tools or that type of time. And I asked DCR per our discussion about whether we should, if they'd be open to providing supplemental dirt and soil for, what we need to add. And he could not provide any of that. So So I let him know that it was unlikely that we're going to be able to do something in that, but we would be interested in the future with enough time and prep. And maybe it's in the fall if they wanted to do something. If those plants do survive somewhere at a transitional place, we'd be open to it. So that's where we ended with that.
So the plants are still with us, or the plants are still
No,
with us?
they've always been with him. Yeah. With DCR. They didn't
Oh,
come. Yeah. So that's the short end of that. And I guess, I'll let you know if anything else comes about. Next up is Mass Trails Grant Contracting and Project Kickoff Planning. So just a note, we don't have the contracting yet. We don't have a timeline of that contracting. I did reach out to Amanda Lewis, who is the program manager, and asked her for feedback. And she said she's going to be scheduling those feedback sessions in August. She takes good time with each application and provides solid, good feedback to each applicant, ways that, you might be able to present different data. And I specifically asked in a kind way, I was like, we had asked for a larger regional grant. We thought we had a strong case for it. So we'd like to understand how those decisions were made in our case, especially so that, we'll be better prepared for the next time. So
Yep.
I'll let you know when we get to talk to her in August.
who-
And
who's
then,
that?
so for
Who's that
project,
person?
go ahead.
Who's that person?
Amanda Lewis, she's the
Amanda
Mass
Lewis.
Trails Grant Program Manager. So for kickoff, so I think what we're going to need to do is we're going to have we're going to put it together a timeline, right? We have all these aspects of the project. It's multifaceted. There's a lot of moving parts. Some of it can go parallel, some of it can't. There's procurement issues and things to work through, Mark Purple and Melanie. And there's a lot of different entities. There's MWA, there's DCR, there's DPW, there's Recreation now, Recreation Commission and Director, and us and the Select Board. So there's a lot of different entities. We're going to need to, schedule kickoff at some point once we get through some contracting, make sure everyone's on the same page. And I want to hear from you guys and your experience, but this is it's a huge project, and we're going to want to make sure that, DPW is talking to DCR and that they have the right contacts, that everybody's in the loop all the time about what we're doing, and that we have multiple trails people on the calls when we're scheduling them, not to break quorum, but to ensure that we have backup plans. If anything were to happen to any of us, or any of us wanted to quit midstream, we would always have someone else in the know. Just to ensure, we did that during COVID too, to ensure that, things just kind of go seamlessly. And do you guys have any thoughts? And I don't know that this might happen after Labor Day. It just really depends on the contracting piece. But we can start to get things in order, which is understanding the procurement and how that's going to work with these, different these projects, and which ones has to go to bid and which one doesn't, that kind of stuff we can figure out.
Just to understand what this contracting is for the fence and all those things, or
Well, we have DCR contracting for the grant. So
contracting?
50,000, yeah. So we need the grant. Nothing can get started. Nothing can be paid. That's a good point. So our in-kind support, so our volunteer hours will count towards in-kind support, and we need to track those. So I guess we need to consider any time that we're spending on this will not count towards the grant in-kind support. So we want to be careful about what we're doing when we're doing it. And we can't spend any money before the contracting is in place. They're very specific about that. But we can get everything set up. Now I did reach out to IT, Jason, and asked him if he had a recommendation for a central repository for where we can keep, I'm thinking OneDrive with SharePoint, because I use Office 365 at work. It has to be in complete compliance with open meeting law, I understand. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of different entities, and we're going to want to have somewhere where these are all the working documents. These are the quotes, right? If Recreation Commission, and I'll explain that later, wants to come in and see where we are, they have a place to go. Master plan use Google Docs, and I'm hoping Google Docs is good, but sometimes it's clunky, and we did have some issues with it, and it's not my favorite thing. So I'm just curious if the town has come up with another way. do other committees or commissions have this? Do they put their files somewhere? What do they do?
So what does Jason say?
He's like,
Okay.
he'll think about it. And I asked if we needed to go before the MTC, the technology committee, and he said if he can't, he'll bring it up if he needs to. So he doesn't have an answer yet.
Yeah, I guess I agree with Google Docs. I'm not a Google person. I rather use OneDrive or.
Yeah, and I don't know if the town has actually subscribed to use it for committees, commissions, and boards. And there's a lot of open meeting law.
Right, but remember, master plan uses Google Drive and gave everybody access. It was.
Yeah, it was up. Yeah. And then my specific question was, there's going to be stuff that's going to be publicly accessible. And then there's going to be drafting stuff that isn't publicly accessible. And we're not going to deliberate or break open meeting law, but some of that stuff doesn't need to be publicly available if it's not ready for public, So is there a private folder that can be used? And again, checking with open meeting law, can it be a central repository, not where we're deliberating outside of the meeting, but where we can store our plan documents, our drafts? So when we come to our meeting, we review and finalize our drafts, and then we're good, that kind of stuff.
What's the problem with the Google Drive?
We don't like Google.
No,
It's not that I don't like Google. It's not that at
I
all.
don't
It's
like
just,
Google. I
So-
don't like Google.
No, if you are thinking that you can only deposit or save the Google Docs, that is not true. You can save any other document, any other format.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So if that is the hitch, then it should not be a problem. It is just a
yeah.
drive like any other drive, network drive.
Yeah. Well, I also want to make sure that, I guess the town approved Google Drive for the master plan, but is that the most secure thing as we up our cybersecurity? Is that the most secure platform we should
It doesn't
use?
have to be secure. It's public access information.
I think everything has to be secure. Everything that we do on the web has to be secure. So it's just a question for them to figure out, and if they approve it, then they approve it. But
All right.
I just want to make sure that.
Like I said, planning uses the Google Drive. Granted, we don't like Google Apps,
Right.
but Google Drive is fine to use.
Yeah, if that's what we end up using, then I just wanted to ask the question, because if OneDrive is available, that would be fabulous.
And you can make a folder that is not accessible, and you can make some folders accessible.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
but the question would be that, do you need a Google account for that? I mean,
You would need
as
a
an
Google email account. Yes.
yeah,
Google is very specific in that you need a Google email account.
exactly.
And then do we use one of our personal ones? I set up a personal one for Trails Committee before they had emails. So do we just use our own, or do we have to go through the town?
I
And
think
a
we
lot of
gotta,
times when you have those types of things, they have to be included in the backup process. So the town has to be aware to back up X Drive, for example. So it does require some back
well,
end.
let's find out what Jason finds out. Because we can't be the only one that needs a network drive.
Exactly. That's why we are not reinventing the wheel. We'd like to
Yeah.
use the wheel, and hopefully it's not just Google.
And
but
planning, obviously, because Mimi did it, uses Google Drive.
So,
Well, let's just see what Jason comes back with. But yes, we need some kind of central repository,
so we'll keep
public
everything.
access. you
Yeah,
know.
and then that way it's not on someone's computer in case something happens to that
Yep,
person.
agreed. Agreed.
What about when you do the website, when you do the updates of the website, do you go somewhere? I mean, it's it should be on some network host, right? So you can ask him if he can, similar kind of repository is there, for the.
Yeah, and I've done that before where I've uploaded documents and just linked
Yeah.
to them. They're behind the scenes, they're linked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done that too, but it's a clunky system, and I would love a better folder structure.
Okay.
I don't know what vendor is the website vendor, but I don't love them. Anyway, so
And-
now I don't love Google, and I don't love our website.
I don't like Google.
I don't mind Google. It's Google
I don't
Drive.
like
I don't want
Google.
to play with. I don't want to play anymore.
Google knows more about you than Facebook.
They might be tied. So next step is capital planning, or ARPA funding. Let me not forget that. So thank you to the select board. They voted forward. The remaining funds we needed for the trail project that wasn't covered by the grant. So the grant was 50,000. So they approved, our original request was 194,547. They approved 144,547. So they just took 50,000 off, which was wonderful. Thank you, Select Board. And then the next step in the ARPA funding is related to our next item on the agenda, capital planning. It has to do with the crosswalk. So we had requested, would they fund the additional 15,000, the smaller of the two crosswalks, because that's reasonable. Sanofi will give us 10 parking spots if we can do that. So we are, we have to go through capital again. Capital asked us to separate the projects out. One is trails and the other is the crosswalk.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is I'll submit, I've already submitted the quotes, but I'll resubmit, and I will separate them out as crosswalk 1 and crosswalk 2, like crosswalk 1 being Central Street and Route 30, because I'm fairly certain after speaking with VHB's engineer that that's going to be a 10-year conversation, and no one's going to want to touch that intersection because it is going to be so expensive because it's out of code. And as soon as you touch it, it all has to be brought up to code, which is why the fluctuation from the 150,000 to the $500,000 quote.
Right, the
Why-
capital, that should be on capital planning with DPW to put a sidewalk on and a proper crosswalk.
What was that?
That should be on the capital planning and the DPW to put a proper sidewalk and a crosswalk.
Yep. So once we submit this, we can follow up on the projects, but we're not looking to be a project lead for crosswalks.
No.
We want them to happen.
Right. This is a
So-
public safety issue. Once the trail gets opened up, it's a public
Yeah, so
safety.
we
That's
brought
all.
it to the town's attention. We'd love, the sidewalk extension on Central Street's already on the list, the sidewalk list. So hopefully that all works out.
Now, the Sanofi crosswalk.
Yeah.
You said it's the lesser of the, what?
Yeah, it's 15,000 was the quote. And that,
For painting the road and make it handicap accessible on both
Yes.
sides?
right. And 15's a little high. That includes like a $2,000 contingency. And if it's coupled with other crosswalk projects or other public works projects, you could get economies of scale. So it might be a little bit less than 15, but that was the initial quote.
Okay. Okay.
And I think I can't remember the last time we met. I don't know if we had heard from Sanofi. I think that came
Yes,
in.
well, we heard after our last meeting.
Yes, so we heard that, so Sanofi said, yes, we'll give you 10 spots if you put in a crosswalk, right? So the if you put in a crosswalk was I get it, but it's gonna take a lot of time, a lot more time. And I was hoping, so I did go back to Sanofi and say, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. Would you consider if the town could make a commitment in some writing format, right? That's acceptable to both parties, that we are going through with this. It's going to take a little time getting it in line with the public works project, getting funding, and we have public access within weeks. Like we're almost there. Would they consider allowing early parking in advance of the crosswalk, knowing that we are committing to it? Right. And then if the topic comes up that they would want to donate to make part of the process go faster, then that would just be even better.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we're working with right now. I have not heard back from them. Yeah, so that's that. So the next step is to fill out the capital planning worksheet. And I spoke with Karen at DPW. So this works into the next piece as well. So I asked her, she knows about the crosswalk. DPW, so it's involving Mass DOT. DPW has, I don't exactly know what the terminology she used is, but it's kind of like an open permit to work on Mass DOT roads as long as you submit a simple application type thing. So it sounded like she could submit this simple application. They would approve it or not, or however, but it didn't seem very complicated. And so she was going to talk to Greg at VHB, the engineer, about the crosswalk and figure things out. And then she was going to see what was involved and provide some sort of timeline. And I told her, I was like, it says when you guys can get to it. Obviously, it's an important piece to the trail, but we just need to understand how does that project piece fit into everything else? So we can start communicating that to them.
Right, so Sanofi's, the letter needs that information before you send anything to Sanofi saying, will you let us park before the crosswalk?
Yeah, so yeah. And the select board had also brought up, I think it was actually Sam brought up a good point, that we should talk to general counsel in town and find out what kind of agreement can we put in place, if anything, that would, if we're going to put in a crosswalk and spend 15,000, can we be, not guarantee, but what kind of agreement can we put in place to say that we're going to do this work and you're going to allow us to park for a number of years that would be worthwhile for the investment?
Yeah, we can ask legal for an agreement between the two parties. Yes.
And Sati, if you could put down the Eileen Sandberg is a member of the audience. Welcome, Eileen, and feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions. So that's great news on the crosswalk and reaching out to Karen. She's very helpful about that. So the next piece is the shed. I have more good news. DPW was open to finding a location for us for our shed that ARPA funded in the project number 2 that we put forward. And so she said she would recommend outside of the transfer gate, so we would have access to it, which is even better than I had imagined. I was going to be okay with if it's behind locked doors and we just have to coordinate when DPW is open, but she thought she could find a place outside that's closer to the office. And if it's not on DPW grounds, if it's better at the cemetery or something, she would recommend that. So she said she would talk to Chris Leroy and figure that out and let us know.
Nice. That's good news.
Yeah, it's really great news. The other thing is, so she asked what size, and I said it's to be determined. We're looking roughly at an 8x10. We haven't finalized those details. And I said, she'd mentioned that maybe we could consider having Assabet, the vocational school, build the, if it's not built itself, could they build it? That kind of thing. Or so we need to figure out what kind of shed and what kind of, how simple we can make this too, because we don't, can we buy a pre-made shed and have it just installed? Can the cost of what we have be funding all of that? Assabet is potentially an option, but it's also a longer term process that might, I know that they had been backed up a while because I think Tom, you had maybe reached out to them about some options.
They were
And
way
that was
backed
when
up. Yeah.
COVID hit, so it wasn't a good
Everybody's been asking them to do things.
yeah, so they're a popular group, and I don't know, like my garage is filling up with tools now, which is a quality problem, but we, probably want to see if we can, it would be great if we could do something this fall, right? Just put something in.
I think we should just put it up for bid, an 8x10 shed with barn doors in the front, no windows.
Whoa,
for security.
use those words lightly, sir. Put out to bid. Putting something out to bid is a very detailed, long process.
know.
We don't want to volunteer ourselves for, but we do want to find contractors that will be suitable and find the 3 estimates. and do that
Yes,
kind of
yes,
thing.
we will get 3 estimates. Better put to be that way. We will find 3 estimates.
Just because the cost isn't going to be, it doesn't require the bid.
No, and they could just deliver it and it's done.
Yeah. Has anyone on this call, Sati or Tom, have you ever put it together? Have you built a shed? Have you researched a shed?
No,
Yeah,
I mean, I bought one.
Yeah, I bought one. Nobody.
did?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just go down, tell them what you want. They said okay, and
Who's
they
they?
deliver it.
Who did
Dex,
you build it?
we bought from Dex Plus in,
Yeah, that's a good
In-
place.
yeah, in
What's it?
Westboro.
Westboro, it's called Dex Plus?
Yeah.
Like deck as in decking?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
right on the Route 9.
Yep.
Great. It'd be nice to use someone local. Okay. So we'll figure that out. And then trail maintenance and time tracking and tools and purchases and stuff. So does it make sense? I think we can have a meeting mid-August if you guys are open to it. So I don't know that we need to get into too much detail now about what trail tools we need. We have basic tools now, and I would kind of want to hold off a little bit on purchasing a ton until we have a place to put them. Are you guys in agreement with that
Oh, yeah,
timeline?
definitely an agreement. Definitely.
Okay, so what we can do is kind of put together our wish list and figure it out in our next meeting and have at our next meeting, we can have a tool list and proposed shed options. We can get some estimates and figure that out. I'd kind of like the shed to come with a built-in someone to build it too, if we can make that work without being.
No, just buy it.
Well, yeah, I mean, either buy it or build it. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to put anything together. Right. I'll put trail signs up, but I don't want to build a shed. And you guys don't want me to build a shed.
We're just gonna buy one.
Okay. All right.
Making it way too complicated. We're gonna do what Sati said. Go to Dex Plus, maybe go
Yeah.
to woodworking, go to one other place.
Yep.
Look at all 3 bids, same specs, and then pick one.
Buy the kit, maybe.
Yeah.
Buy the
No,
kit and
no,
assemble
no,
house.
we're not building one. I make a motion, we do not build one.
No worries. No Lego sheds for us. Okay, so Choke Fund 22 grant, we already talked about next steps. I'm going to reach out to Debbie Costine and see if she's interested in doing a hike with us in August. Constitutional Drive Trail System. So we did a site visit. It was Will and Sati and I, and oh my goodness. Tom, have you ever been to that trail system?
It's
It's
wonderful.
I
like-
can honestly say that's probably one part in town that I have not, I've been in that area.
This It's
I
like
had-
the best kept secret ever. I mean,
Yeah, it's a
it's
whole
public
nice
land.
neighborhood.
but
Yes.
yeah, so I spoke with Melissa to see if we needed to go in front of Conservation Commission to ask permission to kind of start maintaining that. So come to find out, when we were in there, and it's like there's like a little pond, in there, and the trail walks around it, and there's a couple of trails off of that. So it's not long, less than a mile. But there's a nice bridge that an Eagle Scout built. Do you know whose son it was? Tony Schoner, who was the original Trails Committee member, who came back as our associate member, who is no longer our associate member because that got axed. His son built that bridge, and it says Eagle Scout Chris Schoner in 2013, which is the year Trails Committee came about. Just
Wow.
incredible. Yeah. So
Then why
I
was that trail buried?
Huh?
Why was that whole area buried?
I don't know. And I asked Tony, and he never brought it up to us that there's a trail system in town that no one's been. He's like, yeah, we've been all maintaining it, and I walk
Somebody
about
has
every day.
their private trail.
So there is, there's already a sign that says Liberty Trail. And there's, I think it's on Liberty Drive. There's an easement off of Constitution, but it really feels like you're walking in someone's yard. So I wouldn't want to encourage that access. There's better access on the other side. And there's also the streets are really wide. So there's some nice off-street parking. So I think once we confirm with conservation that they're okay with us kind of maintaining it, drawing up a map, putting it on the Trails Committee website, I think I would ask that, do we need to do a butter outreach to anyone, or do we just do this? I want to be friendly with the neighbors and make sure that we start off on the right foot. So we'll figure out what the Conservation Commission wants to do about that.
Hmm.
But then we'll put it on the website because that's a super awesome trail, and dogs are allowed. Nice.
I read in between lines there, in between the lines. It's not a DCR property. Dogs are allowed.
Dogs are-
And you mentioned pond. Those are
You
two
still have to pick
attributes.
up after your dog, but they are allowed. Okay, so accessibility and inclusion purpose statement. Will is not here, and he is the guy driving this. He was going to connect with Isabel Murphy, even though Isabel is no longer an active volunteer member. She was still interested in participating in trails. So I'm pretty sure she'll be available or open to helping us, drop that statement, and so that we can post it on the website eventually when it's ready. So that's that. Website updates, they'll get done shortly. Committee roles, again, we've gone a little bit later tonight. We can punt that till next time, but we've talked a little bit about this, and it's best when we get Will back and Isabella back about some roles and responsibilities, divvying it up. And we have this opportunity with these hikes to really separate out and give everybody a share to do and feel ownership around those types of things and run with it in whatever way they need to, and things like that. So yeah, so I think that's it. I think our biggest thing coming up is the contracting for the grant and the and project planning and putting that in place. Oh, back to actually capital planning and that piece. I didn't mention, I just attended the Recreation Commission. So capital planning asked if they suggested that we have an OPM, it's called an owner's project manager, to oversee the project that we're working on for Peninsula Trail. And I was surprised to hear that because we had already included in the budget a trails project manager. Tom, you met Dick O'Brien, and so he was going to oversee the project. And so this is more of he's interested in having a owner's project manager be look out for the town's interest, right? And he sees more and more capital projects coming about. And he put it, he is in Jason, the chair, put it like this: those projects that have one go really well, those that don't always go well. So I asked and put forward to Tim Davis, I asked him if he would be open to, as recreation director, and trails is really nested sometimes, most of the time, under recreation, if he would be open to being the town project manager. And we would obviously do a lot of the work and just run it by him, so it's not a big lift, but he said he would be willing to. And he suggested that we touch base with Recreation Commission as another oversight option. So I reached out to them and met with them before our meeting tonight. And I asked them if they would be open to kind of overseeing what we're doing. So they have a lot of experience, and Tim has a lot of experience with procurement rules and regs, but also executing larger projects and having them go really well. So he is open, and Recreation Commission. So what we'll basically do, and they've voted yes to support trails in this way, in this capacity. They'll write a letter to Capital and to Select Board and let them know that they have offered, that we approached them and that they agreed to kind of serve in an oversight capacity. And really what they're going to be helping us do is making sure that, there's no red flags or real issues that are going to come up as we're going through. So we'll kind of.
Oh, that's a very good idea. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, and it gives us a sense of comfort knowing that we have an experienced commission that's overseeing these types of projects before, kind of having our back. We'll do all of the legwork so that we're lessening the burden on them, and we'll do a lot of it. We'll report back to them and just make sure that they know what's going on.
No, that's a good idea. I totally agree. Yep.
So thank you to the Recreation Commission for doing that, and I think it's going to be good. But the Select Board did not mention needing that at our last meeting, so whether that gets followed through on or not, I'm not sure.
No, our request is to have that for complete visibility into the project and oversight.
Yeah, but an
It's
owner's
not-
project manager, we don't, that has to go to bid, that has to get paid for.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't
yeah.
have any more money. We don't,
Right.
I understand the process, but they're usually maybe for large construction projects, like the public safety building had one. I know that the school board requires all buildings over 1.5 million have an OPM, so we're not quite in that category. So I think we should be fine. Tim feels comfortable with us.
Yep.
And what we've set up. So, okay, so that's that. So next meeting, when do we want to meet? I guess it should be after the 12th, so we can recap Senator Eldridge's walk.
Well, the 12th is a Friday, so we could do it on the 16th or the 23rd.
Well, let's try to get away from, when is the Select Board? Oh, August 9th. Okay, let's do the 16th then. You guys good with that? Because I want to stay away from their schedule.
7:30, right?
7:30, yeah.
Yeah, that's good, because I
Okay.
cannot.
On the 16th, okay, so that's 8/16, 7:30. And by then we'll have our committee members back, Bella and Will, hopefully.
Yep.
And, great, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Great, and a second?
I second it.
Great, and that motion to adjourn was at 8:45 PM. And Tom McCoolier,
Yes.
Tatiana Sharma,
Yes.
Pat McKee, yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Good night, all.